Omer Ozkizilcik works at the security department at the SETA Foundation, and he joins me live from Ankara. Great to have you on the programme. Welcome. Has this been a success for Putin in these past 5 years, or was it a miscalculation?
So we have to differentiate here. If we look from a perspective of geostrategic ambitions and geostrategic goals, we can clearly assess that Putin has achieved an important success there, as he has secured his naval base, his air base in the coast of the Mediterranean, and Russia even managed to make sure that the Assad regime survives militarily, even though Russia still has issues with the Assad regime due to economic situation, due to lack of governance structures, and due to the discrepancies between rich and poor in Syria. So in general, we can assess that Russia has made huge success. But however, there are also huge challenge for Russia still ahead. So Russia has still to provide on a peace solution in Syria, because when Russians intervened, they promised to solve this crisis, and they portrayed themselves as the kingmakers in the Syrian civil war. However, until today, there is only little progress in the political process.
Does Russia want peace in Syria?
Yes, Russia wants peace, but a peace does not necessarily mean a peace of political transition in line with the United Nations. But from a Russian perspective, it meant a military takeover by the Assad regime over all of Syria. However, it seems to have failed, as the Assad regime could not advance further in the Idlib province due to the Turkish resistance, and the Assad regime can also not cross east of the Euphrates River due to the American resistance. And therefore, we can clearly say that the Russian peace failed, and there is still hope for a real peace in Syria, but I do not see much motivation and much readiness and interest by the Russian side to achieve a real peace in Syria, because they still want a puppet in Syria and not a legitimate, popular elected government, which may oppose some Russian interests in the region.
Omer, we have about a minute left. What would you say Russia's presence has done to the 10-year war in Syria?
So the main achievement of the Russian Air Force in Syria was killing civilians. We can clearly assess that, because in the pre-Russian intervention period, the amount and quality of killing civilians in Syria had a limit. But with Russian intervention, cluster bombs, sophisticated weapons were being used against civilians and civilian targets like hospitals, schools, etc. So this is one of the major military achievements of Russia in Syria, to kill civilians, actually. And this was a major part of the strategy, of the military strategy. And the second military success of the Russians was the defeating of the Syrian opposition in the south and in central of Syria. However, in the north, the Syrian opposition still remains, and there seems to be little way forward for Russia to eliminate them by military means.
Omer Ozkizilcik, thank you so much for your analysis on the 5th anniversary of Russia's intervention in Syria. Thank you.